Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jess. Welcome back to the Garden of the Eternal Star. In this episode, we're going to talk about ritual magic on a deeper level. But before we get to that, though, we want to go into the reason why this video was posted a bit late, and also why we decided not to post a ritual like we planned.
In our last video, we said that we were going to film a ritual so you guys could see what it was actually like. And that was our goal, and we shot an abundance of footage over a couple of days. It turned out, though, when we were finished and started doing the editing, we had this moment of realization of, this didn't turn out the way that we had hoped, and there's a difference between watching a ritual via a video and actually being in one. So that's what we want to talk about today.
Right. And that's why we decided to film this instead, so that we could go over the differences. It's also why, as we've said in our previous videos, developing your intuition and your psychic abilities is so incredibly important.
Right, especially when it comes to ritual and working with spirits.
Mm-hmm.
On my own path, I spent years and years, as I've mentioned in some of the other videos, studying magic and doing ritual work. And the problem ultimately that I found was that the process, in the long run, it left me feeling disheartened. Because, as I had said before, I hadn't at that time developed my psychic abilities, and so it seemed to me that I was just going through the motions, doing the rituals and the rites, saying the right words, burning the incense, doing everything that I could to make a connection with spirit, but I wasn't ready at that time for that connection. I hadn't done the work I needed to do, and so it felt empty in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't start getting any sort of results until after he'd done the work that he needed to open up his psychic abilities. Most of the magic of ritual magic comes in the form of cold chills running down your body, channeling and actually sensing the spirits that you're working with. If you can't feel the spirits and energies around you, likely you won't know what's happening, or that anything is even happening. You might have this sort of pressure of expectancy, but if you can't sense the metaphysical, at the end of the day, you're just feeling empty.
Definitely so. And it's also true, even those of us who have our abilities awakened, and, for those of us who can channel spirits and have the cold chills and the sensations and things of that nature, if we, and Jess and I found this out when we were filming the other day, if you step into your ritual space in a negative, mindset, both of us were very frustrated because we had tried what seemed like tons and tons of different angles of shooting it, and it was also a really difficult process trying to get our circle laid out perfectly because we wanted it to look good for our viewers. We wanted to do a very good job for our channel, but we invested so much energy and we got so frustrated trying to make it perfect that in the end, when we got in our circle and started calling to the spirits, we were blocked because energetically we were so angry, we were not in the place that we needed to be in. So bear that in mind.
Yeah. So basically what we're saying here is that the energy that you bring into your circle is the same energy that you build and you maintain there. That's why most traditions recommend different kinds of cleansing and preparation before you do a ritual, so that your mind, body, and spirit are all in the right place before you begin. If you don't actually do that work to try and ground yourself and cleanse your space of any sort of feelings, negative or otherwise, you go into your ritual and you might not have any sort of connection, or you might feel even further frustrated or bad.
That's very true. Another thing to keep in mind here, the spirits that you're going to work with, whether you're calling the watchtowers or calling out to your matron or your patron or angels, it really doesn't matter. They have a greater awareness than we do, and I feel like they can sense and know how much effort you're putting into your ritual and your intent. So there again, if you go into it and you haven't done the proper cleansing and getting yourself balanced and centered, they're going to sense that. And to them, it's going to be like, oh, this person is going to throw up this circle haphazardly, try to call out to me and ask me for help, but they're not even investing the right amount of energy and time to do this right. So why should I help them? You know, I feel like oftentimes that's what comes through if you don't approach it in the right way.
Yeah. And at this point, your state of mind also plays a role here, like we've said before. You just have to try to go into your rituals just being open to whatever happens. Kind of a c'est la vie sort of thing. Don't set your hopes too high on getting a physical manifestation. Just do your best to show your gratitude for the signs and feelings that do come through. Don't allow yourself to feel discouraged and walk away from what you're doing just because in that instance nothing happened or you didn't feel anything. Sometimes we just don't get the connection, and that's okay. It's not the end of the rope.
That's very true. Some other things that you should keep in mind relate to what we mentioned in our previous videos about your space, the space that you have in the room or wherever it is that you're going to actually try to do your ritual, and the actual laying out of your circle. As I mentioned before, Jess and I had originally planned to turn an entire room to use as much space as we could for our circle. But once we started moving furniture, it seemed like we did everything we could to open the room up so that we'd have plenty of space, but still we were limited. So bear that in mind. It might be worth taking the time, take a whole day just to set up and see if it's going to work. And then plan on the next day actually doing your ritual.
And then another challenge that you might run into is your lighting. In our case, it really was more about the right kind of lighting that you need for filming a video. If there's not enough light, you guys aren't going to be able to see us on the channel. So we needed to make sure that we had plenty of light for the camera to be able to get the shots correctly. But this still does apply in the sense that if you're going to use a script for your ritual, or you need to be able to see what you're doing if you're going to give a blood offering, or anything that requires light to see by, you don't have to worry about having your overhead light on and not having a sort of spooky ambiance. It's not the end of the world if you're not sitting in the dark with a couple candles lit chanting around a circle for the spirits to connect with you. What it is about is making the connection. It's not about the aesthetic.
That's true. Another thing that we will mention, as we mentioned in our other video also, is time. There again, another example with Jess and I in preparation for this video. We thought that we had set aside plenty of time, to set up our circle, to do our shooting and all that, and it turned out that we grossly overestimated, and so, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's not a bad idea, especially if you're a beginner, if you're not used to doing rituals in general, take a day and go through the motions, not even trying to contact the spirits, but just laying out your circle, getting ready, and then gauge how much time all of that took. That way, when you're ready to approach it in a serious way, you're miles before where you were, because you have a very strong idea of how long it's going to take you. So you can set aside that time in your day knowing that you're not going to have distractions of phone calls or people stopping by or any other responsibilities, and you can devote all that time to what you want to do.
Right, and if the timing isn't right, the lighting isn't right, any of that isn't right, it's okay to wait and try again. And so that's all we have for this episode, you guys. We hope that you can put these tips to good use and that it's helpful and meaningful for you. Before we go, we wanted to take a minute to mention our Facebook group, which is linked in the description of this video below. We wanted to say hi to our new moderator on our Facebook group, Avila. I hope I said that name right. We're really looking forward to working with her. It seems like things are going to be pretty great. She also has her own YouTube channel, and you can also find the link to that below in our description as well.
Now this is as good a time as any to mention our coupon code. This one is good for 30% off on readings and ritual work on our website. Also, once we've uploaded 10 videos to our channel, you can send us an email with all 10 coupon codes and get a raffle ticket for a chance to win a free spot in our intuitive development course this summer. So bear that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, you guys, for joining us in another episode. If you have any tips on doing ritual magic or any comments of any sort, just drop a comment below, and we'd love to hear your ideas and see what works best for you.
We'll see you guys in the next episode on Friday the 12th. It's going to be based around love and connection since Valentine's Day is coming up. So be sure to like and subscribe down below to get the notification.
Mm-hmm. May Lucy's love and light guide you all.